to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, this is an interesting book. Very interesting content. It's based on a true story, right?
It is based on a true story, but it is fictionalized because, well, I learned a lot writing a book, but there are too many characters that would confuse people. So we've combined the incidents that are accurate into the characters that we were able to keep in the book. So it is based on a true story.
So this is your first one. It is sold out right now, but don't worry, guys, because you can get it as an ebook right away and an audiobook right away.
No, audiobook is still in production.
Oh, so ebook right away. Yes. Audio waiting on and actual hard copy waited on.
I scrapped the audiobook because they convinced me to try AI and I would never know the difference. And when I heard it, it was awful.
Oh my goodness.
So
the things you learn as you go along the way.
And again,
it's your first.
This is my first book, and I mean, one thing I'll have to say is you're never too old to reinvent yourself, because I never considered myself a writer, but I had a story, so.
So what sparked this idea?
Well, if anybody, you're probably too young, but there was a lot of, oh gosh, how do I say this? In the Fresno Bee, there was an incident at community medical centers.
So what year was that?
I believe it started in like 2013.
Well, I'm not too young. I was living in LA, so I probably don't know. Okay.
Well, it made headlines. We even actually got on the Nancy Grace show, but there was a physician that was practicing out of compliance. And I was one of the advocates trying to get people to pay attention. It was just so unbelievable. That's why you have to read the book, because it just couldn't actually be happening. Although when I stepped in, everything actually was happening.
Okay, so you were an advocate, but what does that mean necessarily? How do you know, like, all of a sudden you got word of it, you got wind of it, you worked there?
Well, I was the director over the OR.
Okay, so you were working there?
Yes, so my background is as healthcare leadership, and they were losing nurses, well, general staff, and including some physicians, and then their directors kept quitting. So I had a few other departments, and they had asked me to step in temporarily so that they could do a nationwide search and find a new director. And when I got in there, I saw things that needed to be reported, so we did.
And it was all one person?
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird if one person can have that much power.
Well, one of the mantras, and I want to do a disclosure. I don't want people to fear going into the hospital for surgeries by reading this book or any procedures, because 99.9% of people in those healthcare facilities are there for the right reason. They want to be there for their patients, and they're going to keep them safe. However, I think it was more of a new group that came in administration, and this doctor, I think, was truly the devil incarnate. In fact, I called him that a few times. But their mantra was, well, are you sure? Because you know he's bringing $60 million a year to this facility. Or
how was he doing that? How was he so great in one area, not another?
No, he was doing surgeries, and
So that's how he was bringing the money, was through surgeries.
Yes.
But whether or not they were successful is a whole nother story.
And he was just doing them too quick and too fast. And yeah, I couldn't even go into all the details. But I get to talk about it in my book because it's all part of public record. There was a big trial, and it was in the newspapers for 3 or 4 years. There was a lot of depositions. So what my editor and I did, we pulled the dockets from the Fresno Superior Court, and they went through and were saying, tell us about this and tell us about that, you know, and so we got to put it in the book. Although, like I said, the incidences are correct, but the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Totally understandable. And so did you feel like they got compensated? A lot of people that were victims in this so-called, like you didn't, not so-called, but what happened?
Well, one of the reasons I'm writing the book, or wrote the book, was because there were a lot of stories not told.
That's usually what happens.
They tried to keep certain things out, although it's all part of public record if you want to take the time to go in and dig for it. So there's nothing new in the book for the people that lived through it.
So he's done, this guy.
He fled to Pakistan, and he is still there.
We don't have to deal with him anymore, so that's good.
So we are all safe. But there was a lot of collateral damage, especially, I mean, the patients suffered and families suffered.
But the hospital still exists, so.
Well, and it is a good community hospital. It
Well,
was
it is
just,
now.
you know,
One bad apple.
one bad apple that was, it all came down to, you know, the evil of money.
And you had to deal with that.
I did, and another facet of the book, there is a lot of my personal story in it, because as they were going through my manuscript, they kept saying, okay, if this director left and this director left, how did you stay so long?
How did you?
I had a refuge. Every night I came home, I had a wonderful husband, and he was something special. And then he did pass away, but a lot of the community knew what he had done for the community. And
What did he do for the community?
book. Well, he was a high school principal, but he didn't have a job. He had a passion. And that was something I got to learn the difference from. I had a job, he had a passion. You know, I would say, do you have to go to work today? If it was like one of those little holidays. And he'd just think, I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work.
Oh my goodness,
and he
that's
meant
amazing.
it. But he also had background, he was a history background, so he just was just full of curiosity and made everything fun. Even if I had a bad day, I'd come home, and this is in the book, I knew what we were having for dinner, because he would have Dean Martin on if we were having Italian, or mariachi music if we were having tacos.
That is so cool.
And then he would
What a
tell
guy.
us, yeah, he would make me, I couldn't sing because I don't have a good voice, but he'd say, okay, you can't sing for your supper, you have to dance with me. And we would dance around the kitchen.
Oh.
And, you know, it was irritating sometimes, but yeah, after he passed, I sure do miss those days. But again, he put things in perspective. So all of my day that I didn't know if I could get through or not, I knew as soon as I got home, everything was melted away. So my editor and ghostwriter pulled that and interlaced it through the horrors of my professional experience.
Because I was going to say, with all this, why would you even want to stay? Or did you feel a duty?
It was. I really felt
Obligated in a way.
well, not even
like you owed it
obligated.
to.
I wanted to protect. That could have been my family member. That could have been my
took it
mother
personal.
or father or sister, or you know how.
So it
how
was a
would you-
passion for you in a way. In a way.
It was a passion, but then my staff were a big draw for me to protect them, because they were being tormented and bullied and harassed.
How did he not get you out of there if he was powerful as well?
He did.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's
In the
exciting.
end-
This is exciting.
In the end, yeah, I technically resigned because I refused to turn a blind eye. And
Okay.
that's what they had asked is, you know, if you have to leave them alone. And I just said, I can't. I will not turn a blind eye. And they said, then put it in writing. And I was there 30 years, more or less. And so I just knew if I could show them the truth, that they just didn't understand.
Well, so how long after
they
that
understand.
that you left did all this really transpire in the court?
Actually, I walked away, and talk about divine intervention, though. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. So I walked away, and it was about 9 months later that I picked up the Fresno Bee at a Starbucks, and I saw the headlines, and then I saw them claiming that the whistleblower was lying, and he was a disgruntled employee, and he was just making this stuff up because they knew nothing about it. And I just flipped out. But luckily, I always blind CC'd myself with all of the emails that I had sent them over the 4 years I was in that position. And then I became a key witness. So I had called.
You got your day in court, literally.
Well, I Googled the lawyer that was taking care of the patient that started the lawsuit. He was a gentleman from Sanger. I did not know him, even though I grew up in Sanger. And this whistleblower had contacted the family to tell them what happened. And they were basically calling him a liar. So when I saw the attorney's name, I Googled him, found him, called him, and I said, I just read the article in the Fresno Bee about the hospital. And he says, and it's all true. And I said, I know it is. I have proof it is. I have some emails. He's going, where are you? He was in San Francisco, but he was back in Fresno at 8 a.m. to take my documents, which were many.
So when you resigned, did you have to retire pretty much from the whole thing, or did you go back into medicine, or we were done?
Well, that's another aspect of the book, because I had been getting several offers from all of the other competitive, competing hospitals. And so I thought, okay, I'll seriously look at taking one of those offers. And when the physicians of my facility found out that I wasn't coming back, and this evil doctor was touting, trying to intimidate the rest of the staff. I told you not to cross me. I told you anybody that messes with me is fired. I got Valerie fired, which was not true exactly.
Ish, yeah.
I mean, because I wouldn't leave him alone, I resigned. I did have a choice at that point, which there was really no choice.
Right.
Anyhow, my husband had convinced me, just take a break, just take a deep breath. You've been through so much. And I was also going through a cancer. I'm a chronic cancer patient. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer back in 2009. And my oncologist and everybody is saying, this stress is not good for you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm as stable as a rock. I mean, do I look like I'm dying? I mean, I have been stable since '09, and I just had my 15-year anniversary in January.
Congratulations.
But what happened was, when this group of physicians went into the CEO and said, what happened to Valerie? She said she was coming back, and this physician was telling everybody, don't cross me, I got her fired. And that CEO, and nobody really knew I was a stage 4. You know, some people close to me knew I was going through cancer treatments, but I never missed a day of work. Well, I went through that. I would
oh my
time
goodness.
It. I would time it so that I went in on a Thursday night, have my therapy.
Did you go through chemo, and you were going through chemo?
Versions of it.
Okay.
It wasn't the big guns, but I was there doing whatever I had to do, but I wouldn't fill it until Saturday morning. Then I'd probably be in bed the whole weekend, ready to go to work on Monday.
Oh my goodness.
But that's what is so crazy, because we really, so anyhow, the CEO told the doctors that came to advocate for me, she had said, well, Valerie resigned. He did not fire her. And you know, she's a stage 4 cancer patient, and she wants to spend time with her family. I could not figure out why I was getting all these flowers and cards and how wonderful I was, and, you know, until I met up I accidentally ran into somebody at Costco, and they acted like they saw a ghost. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, you look so good. It's like, oh, thanks. You know. So it's an interesting story too, but they tried to intimidate and bully a lot of people
into hiring you afterwards.
Well, no, once people heard I was a stage 4 cancer patient, they weren't going to touch me with a 10-foot pole. That's when you have to take what you've got and recreate yourself doing some other things.
Was that okay for you, giving up was it a process?
It was a process, and it was hard. But then looking back, those 5 years, I had 5 years with my husband I would not have had. I got to be at home through COVID, which I would not have had.
Right, you've been in the front
So it
lines.
was a blessing in disguise, yeah.
Wow.
And I got to be my husband's personal assistant. We got to make rally costumes because he was a goof. He
sounds like it.
He dressed up every rally, and the kids loved him. In fact, the city did this, but they named the street going into Sunnyside High School Tim Lyles Way. So that's a testimony to his, impact on the kids there. But
How did he pass?
he had a glioblastoma, and from diagnosis to death was only 5 months.
Wow.
But he had surgery twice, and he never lost his cognitive skills. He was so proud when they said, you don't need therapy, you don't need cognitive therapy. He needed therapy he lost motion on his left side. But again, it was COVID. He had to work from home. Nobody even knew it. And he was on that computer working after brain surgery. But
Wow.
yeah, but that, again, if I had not been railroaded, I wouldn't have had that opportunity, And so, when I went back to the other facilities going, okay, I see this job was still posted. You had offered it to me once, and finally someone said, well, we heard you went home because you were dying.
No one wants to hire someone that's dying.
Yeah, they did not want to take on that insurance.
So what's going on now? What's the plan now? Are you ever going to go back? Are you going to keep writing?
No, I actually think that I can continue on this path. It's different.
You got redirected.
I did. I got redirected, and I would have never in a million years guessed that I would have been an author. And I surprised myself, and I think I surprised a lot of other people too, because the editor and the publishers were saying, well, you need to do pre-sales so they can have an idea of how many books to stock or whatever. And so I told them that this hospital institution has 10,000 people, and then Fresno Unified, they know that Tim is in the book too. And then I have a huge family, and so did Tim. And they thought, oh, yeah. And I think one of the comments was, people always tell you, friends and family, that, oh, we're going to go right out and purchase it, and maybe 50% of them will actually follow through.
But
and I said,
everybody.
but this is based on a true story, and people lived through it, so maybe it'll be different. Oh, but, you're a first-time author, maybe your next book will go better, and you're not a celebrity, nobody knows you, it'll be fine. And so the Amazon representative called me, because what they had told me was I would be very, push the pre-sales. I would be very fortunate if I could make the top 100 of the new release, because once there's a list and they see that you're a #1 seller or a #1 release, there's producers that scour those lists to see if there's any catching titles. And so she called and said, okay, I can't believe this, so I'm calling you to take a screenshot because these change by the hour, but you just got #1 new release.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And it's like, I told you, there's people that are interested. And so then a couple of days later, she says, you're still #1 on new release. And so I had a 9-day run as #1, and then I went down to #3, and then the release date came, and it sold out because the cushion that they made, they still sold them through the pre-sale sales. So as of today, everybody's reordered, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. But I don't know, they won't relist it as available until they log it in the store, I guess. I'm not sure what the process is, but right now...
So get the ebooks, everybody, if you want an immediate read.
Right now, everybody is sold out. And I know that's a good problem to have, but I feel like my momentum just got cut.
What we always think of too, I think we always hear these stories about like hospital politics and everything, and to see that still exists, this is definitely an interesting read.
Well, and I didn't believe it as I was living it. I really thought there was misunderstanding. I really thought there was another side to the story. And then when I got in there, it was like I was having nightmares. I truly was having nightmares. You know, of this doctor had glowing red eyes. And in fact, during the trial, because we did end up with a real life trial, I almost got, slapped with some serious, because I wouldn't stop. I wanted to say what I needed to say, and you know, they suppress everything. It's like yes and no, yes or no. It's like, it's not yes or no. It was interesting.
We appreciate what you did. You're a hero because, you know, eventually he's not here anymore causing problems, and you're a big part of why that's happened.
Well, I'm the only one that took notes. I was a tedious note taker, which I learned from a previous CNO of mine that was also a local nurse, but she'd always teach, you know, document.
But you could have just kept your mouth shut and kept your job, and you didn't.
You know, and that was the sad part. I mean, I did give up my career, but I don't know how I would have done anything different.
That you gave up your career to save lives.
I think so. I just did what I would want somebody to do for my loved ones. I mean, it was a no-brainer.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I will admit, this is actually my favorite local beer.
Oh, all right. That's a good start.
That's not to butter you up. I'm very honest about what I like and don't like.
Awesome.
Well, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't say it.
Right. No, glad you enjoy it.
Okay, so what makes this beer so good?
You know, it's craft. You know, it's made right here.
I've had a lot of craft beer. What makes your beer so good?
Well, I think we listen to the consumer. You know, we determine what they want, and we brew pilot batches until we get it right, and they're loving it, and we just put it out there to the whole state of California.
Do you have a big team that works with you? I had met one of your brewers before. But.
Yes, yeah, no, a huge team. I mean, we have over 35 people on staff, you know, between the tap room that we have, our sales team, our production team, our great marketing team. So we've got a lot of people behind this product.
So how did it start?
You know, I was a home brew hobbyist, you know, as a CPA by day, dreaming of owning a brewery one day, and the opportunity presented itself to purchase Full Circle. So at the time I had an accounting firm, you know, and I decided to sell my accounting firm and buy Full Circle.
That's actually really risky.
Yes, it was. I had to convince my wife and my kid, you know, like that it was a good idea, but no, it's turned out great, and, you know, follow your passions, right?
Okay, what am I going to try? Let's try something.
What do you normally dig?
I'm not a huge IPA person, so anything that's not IPA. I don't like hops.
Peachy Vibes is probably, it's like an American wheat with just a faint amount of peach.
Okay.
So
What else do you have? Anything? What about any stouts? You have a stout?
we don't have a stout. So
Well, I know you have so many beers.
we got so many. So we got a New England IPA, West Coast IPA. Those are in the IPA categories.
Okay.
And then we've got a sour, which is pretty popular, nectarine sour. But
Oh, I'd like to try.
Yeah,
the
you wanna
sour.
try
That
it?
sounds amazing. I have had the peach actually. Not that I don't. I mean, I love it. I wanted to try something new, kind
there
of.
you go. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. How many people have a nectarine beer? That is so cool.
Yeah, and it just goes together. It's kind of like a Jolly Rancher almost.
Oh my
is
gosh.
When it comes to
That is
that.
so amazing. I love you have like seriously the best beers I've ever. And that's what I like too is that you have so many options. Not many breweries have that.
Right. We got to keep it fresh and you know we have the mainstream stuff everybody's looking for. But
What's your favorite?
My favorite right now is a hazy. So Captain Sable Hop. So
Oh my gosh! Where do you come up with these titles? That is amazing. That is like really cool.
people love that, and we have a kind of East Coast and West Coast version, and they're kind of in a battle.
Love that.
So it's kind of cool. And the Captain Sable Hop's all about good vibes. You know, he's
So what's
the
the
protector
East
of good
Coast
vibes.
one's called?
They're both Captain Sable Hop. But
that's
one's actually,
California.
This is California, West Coast style, so cleaner.
So this is the East
little
Coast.
Yep. Soft, refreshing,
I'm a Biggie
hazier.
fan, so I'm gonna like that.
Are you going that way? All right. That's actually my favorite right now. We can try that one as well.
Okay, so how long had Full Circle been around before you jumped on board? I don't really know the backstory behind Full Circle in general.
A while. They're the longest running brewery. We're the longest running brewery in Fresno. So it started in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, so been around for a bit.
And then you bought it in
2016.
Okay.
Yeah, and just
that's when it really exploded.
That was and really, you know, it's funny because when we bought it, we got everybody together and we said, okay, what's Full Circle going to be? And we had all these grand ideas, but then we realized Full Circle was already something, so we just amplified it. They were always about like a everybody's welcome, all inclusive, eclectic like entertainment venue. So we just did that and just amplified it. So.
And then now you're all over California. How'd you score that? How'd you grow to that capacity right now?
Just being right place at the right time. That wasn't our original plans, but I think our big initial break might have been the Made Festival that's here in Fresno, and we met our first distributor. And that was in Sacramento, and it just evolved from that. So now we have 9 distributors across the state of California. You can buy our beer in almost every metropolitan area here, plus 6 states. So that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could buy it pretty much everywhere in California. Then a lot of the
Right.
like Vaughn, Save Mart, Ralph's, stuff like that.
Yeah, all those.
What are the other states?
So we have this route along the major highway 70 in California. So Ohio, Kansas, Colorado, we drop off in Nevada.
Jump up a little bit.
Yeah, we do. So you got to fill in the states based on.
And how do you get that? How does it go from like now you're all over California and then you jump to other states?
Just meeting people, and then making the ask,
They try it in their place.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's doing well. We like it.
We send it out where we find a craft distributor that like kind of melds well with what we got going on. So yeah, and we have our own truck too, which helps. Yeah, so we got a diesel truck that can make its way.
As you have a lot of events at Full Circle, that's what I love. I've done some of them. We have No Town Throwdown again coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
St. Patty's Day.
Yep.
And then when you did the last one, so what kind of other events do you guys have?
All kinds of events. We've in one year we've done probably over 300 events. It's just always something is going on there. We have a great Monday mixer amongst all the artists in the community,
really?
and coming artists. Yeah, with Love the Captive, Johnny Q does a great job. So community-based events to big hip hop events. I mean, tonight we have a sold out hip hop event. People are lining up outside early in the morning to be the first in.
Are you serious?
Yeah, right now. That's why I was like, what are all these people doing in this seat? So we just from rap to we've done country and reggae and honestly a lot of metal and goth as well.
Oh yeah, I went to the Alien Ant Farm. I think that was the first time I went there. I'm friends with them, so I was on the back. But that was amazing. You are really bringing some because you have that space outside, so you get a lot of people there, huh?
We've hosted as many as 2,500 people at a time. Yeah. So we it's a big part of our brand.
So you have someone that really works hard on booking.
A whole team. Yeah. We got booking, venue, sound, security. It became a business within itself. So.
And what did you plan when you bought it? I know you're a brewer, so you like the beer. How did it come to them like, I'm interested in the beer to this?
I honestly just planned on serving beer behind the bar. That was the initial plans. But
someone convinced you, hey, I have this, there's a big spot, let's throw some.
The community convinced us, they had already been doing events, so we were just saying, well, we have this outdoor space, like, can we do a bigger event, so some of our first events were big. We did an event with E40, we had Bone Thugs there, Alien Ant Farm, Buck Cherry. This just like really got us in the music scene, and it vibes really well. It actually, probably the entertainment came before entertainment was incorporated into our brand. It's just become what Full Circle's about.
And I noticed, because it's downtown, people are like, oh, downtown. Every time I've been at an event, I feel very safe, and it's very good. How do you make that vibe to where you get the right security and make that happen?
Yeah, it's definitely safe. I mean, the city's doing a lot for lighting, and we've got parking around our building. But it's a metropolitan area. But I think with density comes crime prevention, right? The more busy we are, the more active it is, and the less in the shadows the downtown area is, the less crime. That's what I feel. So that's just us breathing life in that area makes the area safer.
What do you want to accomplish? What's the next feat? You have so much going on.
Yeah, I think that, the next feat we're really leaning into production and beer sales. We're trying to become more of a lifestyle brand, so because once our beer leaves here, our entertainment venue is not with our beer, so we have to kind of carry that on. So with the whole Captain Save-A-Hop series, we're all about protecting good vibes, protecting good vibes. So we've got, a lot of good beer placements with celebrities and influencers talking about protecting their vibe, and it's like, it's kind of a mental health space thing, right? You got to, in order to grow, you got to get through some stuff, right? And while you're getting through that stuff, you got to protect who you are. So in our own growth, we kind of experienced that. We got to the other side, and we're putting that in our products, and we want our consumers to keep going and pursue their dreams despite the haters.
For sure. What else do you guys sell at Full Circle? I mean, I know every time I go there, I just get beer. Is it just beer and then the chips and salsa? Beer,
cider, but we also have a full food truck. So you can get food.
So it's when you said you had the truck, it's actually your guys' food
as
well.
It's our truck, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And we have a chef leasing it out right now. So yeah.
So what kind of food?
All kinds of food. So everything from tacos to hot dogs. So it's kind of a variety.
They switch it up, or
they switch it up depending on the crowd. But it's great food no matter what it is. Like, I think the nachos are absolutely killer.
And you guys do the chips and salsa inside, right?
We do, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Bobby Salad, our sponsor.
For sure.
Oh my God. So that's like, I can't believe that every night you're busy with something. That's kind of crazy that you have Poppin' Mondays and Poppin' Tuesdays. That doesn't really happen around here.
No.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't. And that's us, like, just like leaning into the event venue piece. It's a whole business within itself. So it's not, we can't take all the credit for all the events we do. We just create the space and relationships for other promoters mostly to come in and do their stuff.
So do you tent it up when it rains and stuff? Because I've only been there in open spaces. I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, we luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had any big rained out shows, but the show today actually was supposed to be outside. It's going to be inside because,
Well, that is good that you have the space,
Absolutely. But we're open to tenting it up, because I know the wrestling event's going to be outside.
Well, hopefully it's not raining that.
No.
I'm going to be cold. Which is good. I think it was hot last time. When was it? It was in summertime.
It was, but it was still packed. People came out.
Oh, it was packed. That is so awesome. And then what, you guys do a lot with the community. Do you guys donate? Like, what are some of the community-based things that you guys do?
Full Circle, honestly is founded by community people that were super active in downtown. I mean, that's why, I even ran across Full Circle. In fact, I moved my accounting firm downtown because I drank the downtown Kool-Aid and was all about revitalization.
Where'd you move from? Where were you before?
So I was near the airport, and we got a nice space right across from the post office downtown, 2300 Tulare.
So you were with the whole vibe.
It
wasn't just,
vibe.
I love that.
Yeah, and we were really big in participating in the Fulton Mall tear out, the redevelopment code, and the 2035 general plan. Like, I was getting into this small knit community. So when I purchased this, I had just enough money to like open the door and see what kind of mess that I got into, right? So I started going out to people and trying to raise capital from who you'd expect you knock on the door and raise capital from. But then all the folks that were involved in that downtown revitalization wanted to put their money where their mouth was. So our first 9 investors are all some OGs from downtown revitalization.
I love it. So everyone believes in the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just extended our community groups that we bring together. We call our tribes. So everything from We had a lot of roller derby, bike polo, we've got cornhole guys, disc golf guys, we've got soccer teams. So there's like little tribes of folks that call Fresno home. And then we do all kinds of nonprofit hosting events, like Heinz Hospice come in, a lot of city events and other organizations come in, and we just kind of build those over the years. And I think that's good for the community.
How did COVID affect you?
COVID wasn't fun. COVID was not fun. Well, we had our second location in the old Audie's Olympics, so we had Full Circle Olympic.
Okay.
So during that COVID time, unfortunately, we had to shut that location down and kind of double down where we were at 620 F Street. And we just went from entertaining people all the time, right, to basically just selling beer.
In-home beer sales.
Yeah, drive-through beer.
So even if that went up, because I know people were drinking a lot during that time, you still lost a lot with the whole venue shut down, right?
Yeah,
It
was surprising actually how many people were getting us to deliver beer to their home. So we were a home delivery service for a while, and.
But that's gotta kind of suck that you bought it in 2016 and you're at your full peak of game
So many plans in those years that we were shut down.
Oh my goodness.
But we pivoted and we kind of we lucked out a bit because we were just in the process of getting heavier into chains. So we had just got a new canning line, and that's a big thing to get this product on shelves and in people's hands outside of the venue. And we started selling a lot through independent stores at the time. So timing, was everything. So, but not a fun time. So I've forgotten that. Like COVID.
I'm bringing PTSD. But it is February, the first week of February, so Black History Month. So what would you like to tell people about being a Black business owner?
Yeah, it's not something that originally we touted a lot. We were just doing work. But as I got further in the industry, I started noticing how rare it was, and then reports came out that less than 1% of the 9,000 plus brewers are actually Black owned, and of that group, there was only a handful of production breweries, so we just started being a little bit more vocal about it, and especially during Black History Month, we collaborated with the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce. We put their stamps on our cans, and
nice.
We just kind of bring out the word that we're Black owned and do some engagements like this and kind of talk about how we got there, and we want to lift as we climb. So
no, that's very important, especially it's the oldest brewery in Fresno. That's cool that you've had it grow. So the people that sold it to you or whatever, I don't know their reason for that, but are they like, wow, like you did, should we not have what are they thinking? I mean, did you talk to them?
Yeah, Don Anderson I talk to a couple times a year. He lives out in Hawaii, and he loves it. He's like, man, you guys carried our vision to the next level.
So he's happy that
he's happy.
You went in the right hand.
Yeah. He has this little scrap. I went to visit him actually in Hawaii, and he had this scrapbook that he was like, here, this is yours. It's like, my kids don't care about this, but you will, So he's like, he's happy, So I think that's pretty cool. In fact, he called me not a couple weeks ago and said, hey, a place down the street, this is in Kona, Hawaii, opened up. You should put a Full Circle there.
Do you have the beer selling in the store over there or no?
In Hawaii, no, we don't have Hawaii, not yet.
hello.
know. That's step one. Get our beer over there, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Do you want to mention the snafu that happened today or no?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because it's one of the interesting stories of being like a brewer. So tell them about it today.
Yeah. No, we're brewing today, and yeah, we're just sitting there. We hear a kaboom, and our glycol just was spraying everywhere around the brewery. Lost all of our glycol. It's the stuff that keeps the beer cold. So I'm like, all in a day. It was already a busy, stressful day.
And yeah, you have people standing out line, and you're here.
Yeah, no, for sure. We wouldn't miss it. So
then, how do you deal with that when that happens? Like, what happens?
Just triage. We just call
someone calls,
call our partners, try and find some replacement glycol and call the contractor, and luckily it's all back up and running.
Do you have a good relationship with other brewers around here? Because some people get really catty and competitive, and so do you have a good where everyone came together when that one brewery burnt down?
Yeah, no,
it was do you feel that community with you?
I think it's evolving. I think we're getting there. I think the biggest thing is there's a Brewers Guild now, right? And I think almost every brewery is involved in that. So I think that's the best conduit to continue to grow brewer relations. But yeah, sure, we'll pick up the phone and borrow something from another brewery and vice versa.
In a situation like today?
Yeah. In fact, we sent some text out, said, hey, do you have any of this? And a lot of times, our neighbors up the street, Tioga, has come through for us. So
that's really cool.
It's a good working relationship. Yeah.
And then I know one of your brewers started their own brewery that still brews for you.
Yes, yeah.
So you guys have a good relationship with that. I mean, how does that work? Because are they taking their secrets and taking it somewhere else? I mean, I'm curious about these things.
I used to be early on, I'd be concerned about that, but it's it's a good meld because there's yes, you're in the brewing industry, but there's different types of breweries and focuses. There's tap room and production. And it just works. We support him, he supports us.
Because you have a team anyway, so it's whatever he's doing on his own is not going to be what you're doing, so it's not a big deal.
Right, exactly. And we, there's trade secrets shared back and forth, but I feel like it's mostly always been a win-win. So,
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm bringing my favorite beer in town. I will say that. I don't care who I upset because it's true. It has been.
Well, we appreciate it.
And it's all because of Eddie. He's actually the one that first gave me some, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best beer ever.
And Eddie is the man and the myth behind all these beautiful labels, so we always got to give a shout out to Eddie.
And it is really captivating. I mean, that is, that's a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. No, he's great. I think we have the best team in the industry. So
everyone needs to follow you, because apparently there's an event every night that we need to be aware of. And I follow you guys, and I didn't even know about Monday nights, so I need to pay more attention.
Yeah. But Full Circle Brewing Co. On Instagram, Full Circle Brewing Co. Check us out. Instagram is where we're funneling most of that. And Eventbrite.
And if everybody come out, St. Patty's Day, I will be there in the ring. And
it's going to be a blast.
Try to drink after I'm a ring girl. I'll have way too much fun as a ring girl if I do. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Well, I've heard about all the great work you do for the community, because you really go above and beyond. So tell us some of the things that you do.
Well, the main thing that I do is lead hikes and cleanups along the San Joaquin River, help with restoration work out in the desert areas on Bureau of Land Management land. Helped start the Civil War Revisited in Fresno.
I always think that's so cool. I need to come out to one of those. How often do you guys have that?
Okay, well, that's with COVID. It's pretty much moved away from Kearney Park.
Oh, no.
It's now done up in places like Mariposa and Sacramento.
So we kind of really have to hunt for that and follow you guys to see when you guys are going to perform next. Okay.
That's kind of a tough one these days.
So what about your kayak? What's the club that you have?
Well, it's called Fresno Canoe and Kayak Club. And the whole purpose of that is to get people to meet each other, help new people to learn how to paddle a kayak.
Well, I love kayaking. But you actually do, through that, you do a lot of good stuff for the community.
Well, yeah, and that's the point of the canoes. A canoe can hold a lot more than a kayak.
Kayak, yeah.
And we use the canoes. Our record is 18 tires in a canoe with a person paddling. Some of our bigger canoes will hold 1,500 pounds.
Wow.
But the point is more we want people to enjoy the San Joaquin River, learn about it, and other rivers as well. There's so many fantastic things out the nature that's out there. There's the San Joaquin River is special in California rivers. There's very few that have mixed riparian forest, and the San Joaquin River is one of them. And that means that it has a mix of trees along the river, like oak and sycamore, alder, black willow, whereas like the Kern River, they're all cottonwoods for a while, then they're all oaks. And because it's mixed riparian forest, it provides a greater habitat for animals. And so you have a really good chance of seeing animals up and down the San Joaquin River. 3 weeks ago, I saw a mountain lion near Palm and Knees.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
And my dog was in the canoe with me, and all of a sudden she focused on some bushes, and I said, well, what's she looking at? And I saw a tail, rear end of a mountain lion disappearing into the bushes. And then pretty soon saw the mountain lion coming out the other side of the bushes and loping along the edge of the river, headed towards Highway 41.
That is something. Oh my goodness. Okay, so why is there so much trash in these rivers? I know you're cleaning it up.
Well, initially what got me started was apparently there'd been some kind of commercial dumping of tractor trailer tires in the river. And
but why? Why was that the place to do it?
Well, out of sight, out of mind.
Okay, so it was just it just became a thing that people were doing for no good reason.
It was some tractor trailer outfit that was dumping all these tractor trailer tires in the river.
Without thinking of any consequence.
Well, they were trying to save money because at the time it was.
And it's not legal to do that, right?
Oh no.
Okay.
Highly illegal.
So it costs money if they were storing it or putting it in the proper dump.
20 at the time, probably about $20 a tire, and if you've got an 18-wheeler, that's a lot. Adds up to a lot of money, and so I can see why they were doing it. They were probably charging somebody an environmental fee, pocketing that, and then dumping the tires in the river. But when I first got out of the Army in '96, I'd been volunteering with the Parkway Trust, and I did my first canoe ride down the river. I was never out of sight of a tire.
Wow, it was that bad?
It was that bad, either in the river or on the banks, all the way from Friant Dam all the way down to Skaggs Bridge.
The last time I saw something like that was like from a hurricane, but that's what we had going on here in the Central Valley.
Well, yeah, the January '97 flood took all these tires and distributed them all up and down the river.
Oh my goodness.
And so when we first started the tire removal project, we were pulling tires down from 15 feet up in trees where the river had deposited them. And just luckily, the Bureau of Reclamation had started the San Joaquin River reclamation project. And so they were paying for the 60 cubic yard roll-off bins that we were filling full of tires. And the very first weekend that we were out there with a bunch of volunteers, we had about 150 volunteers. We got 850 tires out of the river the very first weekend, right by the Highway 99 bridge.
Wow.
Now, you really have to look to find a tire out there.
So where, when you guys got them, where'd you put them?
Well, in 60 cubic yard roll-off bins, and so we'd spot them down the river about every 2 or 3 miles, and so we'd take the canoes and fill them full of tires, and when we got to a place where we'd spotted a canoe, spotted a roll-off bin, then we'd drop off the tires and continue on down.
So where did the bins go with all the tires?
Well, that's was beyond me. They
were just disposed of properly at that point.
Yes,
and maybe even recycled some of the usage.
Actually, initially when we first started, they were trying an experiment of burning tires at a electrical generation plant over on the west side.
So they were definitely put to good use.
Well, for a while, but then it turned out there's too many problems burning the tires, and we had one tire that had a tube in it and had water in it, and they threw that in the boiler, and the boiler exploded.
Wow.
And that probably was part of the incentive of why they stopped burning tires.
So what do you guys do now then, if there's not that much cleanup to do?
Okay, well, cleanup is just a vehicle to get people out on the river to see what's going on out there for the most part, and to make it a little bit safer environment. For instance, this next weekend I'll be leading a 4-H group out on the river and teaching them about hiking and about the flora and fauna along the river.
How do we get involved in that?
Well, you can find Fresno Canoe and Kayak Club on Facebook.
Okay.
And that's the vehicle we use to communicate.
And then people can just, like if a group of friends wants, like let's say like someone's watching this and they have 5 friends, they're like, hey, can you take us out in the canoe? What's the what's the number of people that you like to take out?
Well, I like to keep it 10 or fewer, unless I can round up some people that I'm confident with as canoe guides, and then we can deal with more people.
It's almost like getting a free lesson of learning how to kayak and canoe.
Well, exactly.
And you get to do something good for the... that's awesome, because I love kayaking, so that's really cool that you do this.
You know, and there's a new kind of canoe out called a Next, made by Old Town Canoes, and it's only 29.5 inches wide, has a metal frame that holds a real nice soft seat with an adjustable back on it, and because it's 29.5 inches wide, you can use a kayak paddle on it.
That is so cool.
So it holds a lot more than a kayak does.
So do you also sell kayaks and canoe, or is this all for this purpose? Okay.
There's no money involved at all.
Wow. How long have you been doing this?
Well, one way or another, since I'd say from the year 2000, when I started working with the San Joaquin River Parkway and Conservation Trust.
And that's when you this branched off into.
Well, that's when I learned all about canoe guiding and a lot about the San Joaquin River.
So how long has the Fresno Kayak and Canoe been around?
We've been a year and a half now.
Okay.
And it's been fun, and I've gotten a lot of support from the community, and I've actually had a couple of canoes donated. Well, as a matter of fact, I've had something like 9 canoes donated.
I would hope so. I would hope people that see
and
this.
And a canoe trailer. So that's helped out quite a bit. So we can also help people. I might only show up with 1 canoe on a canoe trailer. We can put other people's kayaks and canoes on the trailer to help them shuttle, so that we can leave the maximum number of vehicles at the takeout point, so people don't have to all go treadling back upstream to get their vehicles.
Would you guys ever travel further? Like if someone's watching this and we have like, I don't know, like a town 2 hours away that has these problems and they need some cleanup, are you open to that? What's the rules here?
We've done one at Fallen Leaf Lake just recently.
Where's that at?
It's right next to Lake Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
Went up there and did a cleanup up there. I've traveled to Coyote Creek below Sonora and done a wonderful canoe, actually a floaty trip there, because you go in a limestone cave and come out the other side.
That sounds like fun.
And it's wonderful. One of your friends, Mona, came with me and did that. It is a mile hike to get down there, so that's why using inflatables rather than carrying heavy watercraft down there.
Are there other people that do stuff like this? If you're seeing in other states and villages where you kind of like got the idea, or they're seeing what you do, or you saw what they do, it's similar?
Yes, there's a number of different organizations that do this, and I've had groups as far away as rivers in Canada that have contacted me to ask about how we did our cleanups.
Because, I mean, this is great. It's like mixing fun with actually doing something that's useful. I've never thought, I always think of kayaking as leisurely. I never thought, I can actually go make a difference and help clean up.
Yes, yeah, and it's amazing what just a few people can do with just a regular shopping bag, trash bag. And there's groups like the San Joaquin River Access Corporation and the San Joaquin River Conservancy that are spotting smaller bins along the river now, and the people can get rid of their picnic trash, or fishermen can get rid of their trash or whatnot in these bins.
That's so great. When's the next Civil War reenactment?
Okay, that I can't tell you.
We don't have anything upcoming?
There is a couple of upcoming, but I'm not sure what the dates are.
How do we look for that?
Okay, that be contacting the Civil War Association, National Civil War Association.
And then they have the dates for the local.
Yes.
So there's like a pretty much a site we could probably follow.
Yes, they do. They're not real good about posting their events.
Oh, we just have to kind of know when it's happening?
There's a little bit of turmoil involved in the club right now. But they have regular battles up at Mariposa on a ranch up there, and Casa de Fruta, and a couple places like that.
Wow, okay. And how'd you get involved in movies? Because that's pretty cool. You've done a couple things.
Through the
through the Civil War?
Through the Civil War Club. Ted Turner put out a call for Civil War reenactors, and our group. Then I was in Arizona with the Army, the Green Army, and one of our guys in our group was a travel agent, and so he managed to get us a real cheap trip back to Dulles Airport, and from there we went to a reenactment at First Bull Run, which was filmed, and parts of the movie Lincoln were filmed there.
Are you serious?
And so I'm shown with a great big battle flag marching with the
that is so cool.
Fireman Brigade, and then Ted Turner put out the call for Gettysburg first, and our group flew to we went out to Gettysburg, came in at Dulles, rented a car, and went to actually the Eisenhower Farm. And the Eisenhower Farm hosted the big camp out there, and so I was able to take part in the Pickett's Charge part of the battle, where we came through the woods, passed through the cannons, and charged as far as the Emmetsburg Road, and I was a Confederate then. And then I switched over to being a Yankee with the 119th Pennsylvania, and I was behind a stone wall. So I was able to shoot at myself.
That's what I was going to ask. Since you're acting, do you get to die and do all that?
Oh, well, I didn't.
Some people did.
Some people did. But
you got to be the killer, not the
every morning we had a dirt and a sweat lady that came out and made us all up, 3,000 people. And
you guys all got paid for that for the movies?
No.
No?
We did not get paid, but we got...
Because I know you don't really for the reenactments. That's for fun, but...
Yeah, but for this, we got a T-shirt. We got a film to take home of the filming of the movie, and that was pretty much it.
Did you get to meet anybody cool? Any of the actors or anything?
Not really. That was kind of the downside of it. Is the filming with the actors was pretty much off here and off there, but it was fun seeing how that was done, because there's all the blood and gore, and it was fun to watch in the movies. The prop guys would have a dead horse under each arm, which were made of styrofoam and rug, and they'd take them out and plop them down on the battlefield, and then they'd be made up with all the blood and gore, and absolutely realistic. It was just amazing. You'd swear they were real horses.
Wow, you've lived a fascinating life.
It's been exciting.
How long were you in the Army for?
27 years. And prior to that, my parents took a job, or my father establishing a teacher training institute in the Sudan, so I got to do 7th and 8th grades in Khartoum, Sudan.
Wow.
And came back and then did the experiment in international living in Sweden.
And you never went to Ireland?
No. Visited 44 countries, but never Ireland.
Sweden's great.
So,
I love Sweden. You had fun there?
Du talar svenska?
I'm a quarter Swedish, but
okay.
I can't speak it.
I lived up in Lapland.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So in a town called Vilhelmina. And so there, the complexion of the Swedish people are, black hair and dark complected.
You managed to find that group of people, the
yes.
group of Swedes.
But my latest travel was with a friend going to South Africa and traveling the battlefields and game parks.
Wow. So you travel all over.
I've been a few places, but I don't feel like I've traveled all over. But
well, Ireland's got to be on the bucket list now.
Definitely. Yes.
So do you do this full time, the kayak and canoe club? The Fresno Kayak and Canoe, I'm
much,
sorry.
Yeah, 7 days a week. I mean, if somebody wants to go out, like for instance, we've got a group that goes every Wednesday pretty much.
Okay.
So one of the guys was trying to poll everybody because there's a rumor that it might be raining by tomorrow afternoon, and so that kind of puts a kibosh on some people.
But you go out there, rain or shine? Depends on how bad.
It depends. I mean, we watch the weather, and really, rain is not a problem. It's the wind that's associated with it.
Really? So that puts a damper on.
Because the prevailing winds tend to blow upstream on the San Joaquin River. And right now, with a lot of properties that are closed, state properties that are closed on the San Joaquin River Parkway, you have to paddle a long way to get to a decent takeout point. So these guys do 17 miles in about 4 hours.
Wow.
Where normal people do it in about 6 hours.
Oh my goodness. Do you guys, have you ever found a body?
No. I've found, unfortunately, 2 dead pit bulls out there that have been obviously used in dog fights. One was wrapped in a sleeping bag and thrown in the river, and the other was had a weightlifter's weight tied around its neck and thrown in the river. It's really sad. But one of my favorite trick questions is, what's the biggest bird you find on the river?
What is the biggest bird?
And everybody guesses eagle or a great blue heron or anything like that. But if you get down in the Skaggs Bridge area, you'll find emus running around.
Wow, so how big is the emu? How much does that weigh?
Well, it's like a small ostrich.
Yeah.
So my guess would probably be in the 100-pound.
So it's like me. It's like my size, pretty much. Wow.
Well, because they're fluffed up, they're a bird. I mean, they're a little bit bigger.
Wow, that is so cool. So what do you do when you find those?
Ignore them.
Right, because it's just.
And my first experience was going out to look at a place to take out below Skaggs Bridge so that we could take tires out of the river. And we're going down the riverbed, and we hear this crunch, crunch, crunch coming through the bushes, and thought, oh, here comes somebody running through the bushes, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes an emu bursting through the bushes. And I thought, oh my God, nobody's going to believe this. And I didn't have my camera with me.
Aww.
So the next day I came back, and I start driving down this road in the vineyards, getting to where there's this farm workers settlement, and all of a sudden here comes this pit bull running out to challenge me, and out of nowhere here comes an emu, and it came bursting out from the grapevines.
Did they fight?
And no, it chased the pit bull, turned tail and run with the emu chasing it.
What a great thing to watch. I've never heard of anything like that.
And then pretty soon on a side road, here comes a big farm tractor with 6 or 7 farm workers on the tractor with an emu trotting along behind the tractor.
Oh my gosh, you are so interesting. We need to follow you on Facebook. What's your Facebook?
Well, Fresno Canoe and Kayak Club.
And you're on Instagram too, or?
No.
Okay.
No.
And you do respond well to that?
Oh,
people?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So everybody needs to follow that. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Well, you're very welcome. You're going to have to come out in the river with us one of these days.
I am. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and There's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends. Knowing all this time